Hello, I'm Richard Ridge for BroadwayWorld. Director Lear DeBessonet's glorious new production of Stephen Sondheim and James Lapine's musical masterpiece, Into the Woods, is one of Broadway's hottest tickets. It's just been extended again through October 16th. And the standbys and understudies are the unsung heroes of Broadway, never knowing when they might go on, sometimes in a moment's notice. And I'm here at the St. James Theater to catch up with Jason Forbach and Mary-Kate Moore, who stand by for numerous roles in Into the Woods, including the Baker and the Baker's wife. I am thrilled to be outside the St. James Theater, your marquee here. I mean, all right, how exciting is it being a part of this glorious production of Into the Woods?
It's incredibly overwhelming. It really is, but also at the same time, Jason and I have been a part of this production since City Center, and so I think we've been able to sort of settle in and be friends with everyone and relax into the roles that we are covering. So it's overwhelm, but also excitement at this point now, I think. Yeah.
The energy from the city is extreme. Excitement and joy. They're thrilled that it's back on Broadway. And we're having a ball, and I think the audience feels how much fun we're having on stage. And it is so, when we walk out of that stage door and we see the city erupt, it's like, then we really see how everyone feels about it and how good everyone feels and how happy they are to have Into the Woods back on Broadway.
Okay, because understudies and standbys are the lifeline saving Broadway. I mean, you have to be ready like at a moment's notice, which we're going to talk about now. I was telling Jason, I got to see both of you go on.
Oh.
Yes, I got to see you go on. A friend of mine took me to the show and they were like, oh, Mary-Kate's on tonight. I'm like, this is fabulous. So I want to start with you because I saw your second performance the day before you opened.
Yes.
So just tell me, like, when you got that phone call Saturday morning, this was the day before they opened, so you were, when you got that call, what happened?
I had a mild panic attack. And you know, you immediately kind of focus and figure out what you need to do. And we came into the theater as soon as we could and started running some things that we hadn't been able to run because we hadn't really had the opportunity to have a lot of rehearsal because we were in tech and previews and then here we were. So we're a team of nine understudies backstage, ready and waiting, and they're all incredibly talented. And so we all kind of helped each other and rehearsed one another, and we had friends in the wings kind of help guide us. So it really is a team effort, and this company is so incredible. The leads, Sarah, Brian, all of them just kind of embrace us and helped all of us. Lear, Jordan Roth, just embraced us and helped rise us to the challenge. So it was nerve-wracking. And I think I blacked out and barely remember most of it, but it happened, and it was a dream come true in the end. It was really wonderful.
Okay, because this was the day before opening night. He gets the call saying you're going on for the Baker, for Brian Darcy James, for the Saturday matinee, the Saturday night, and the star-studded audience for opening night. Now, I saw you on that carpet that night take pictures.
Yes.
And I so wanted to talk to you that night, but I was like, oh, he's probably got to run backstage and like, let me go through the script, right?
Right, I think, and also I feel like people didn't know what I was about to do, so I was like, I'll just say hello and then pass on through. But yeah, it was, I think if I had thought about it too much, I would have been overwhelmed, but as we were saying earlier, Chip Zien was there, and so many incredible theater legends were in the audience. I just had to kind of focus on the task at hand, but it was one of the most amazing experiences of my life, for sure.
Okay, now your first performance on As the Baker's Wife was also your Broadway debut.
Yeah, it was. Oh my gosh. Just like really killing a couple of birds with one gigantic Into the Woods stone, but it was, I mean, a dream, an absolute dream come true. This is one of my favorite shows of all time, one of my favorite roles of all time, and this is my fourth time doing this production. So to be able to make my Broadway debut playing this role, I think, is pretty kismet.
Okay, so you knew the show before going into this?
Very well, yes. Yeah, I did it in college, and then I was an understudy on the national tour back in 2016, understudy at City Center and an understudy here. So I know a couple of the roles. I've been very familiar with the show since 2013.
But you didn't know the show very well before. Oh, wait, yes.
I
A
did.
teacher introduced you, right?
Yes.
Tell me.
Well, I feel like that PBS broadcast of the original company was what was so inspiring to so many of us.
Yeah.
And, you know, growing up in the Midwest, we didn't really have access to a lot of things, and that just inspired me to do this as a profession. And so I've always loved the show. It just has meant so much to me. And to do it now, I just couldn't believe how full circle it was. But I had done it once before in Sacramento 13 years ago, so it was vaguely there. But
Who'd you play?
I played Rapunzel's prince. So, you know, yeah. So I was like, you know, now we're learning all the other ones, and she's truly the mastermind. I'm like, she's the one to go ask. But now, you know, now we're all in the groove of checking off all these roles one by one.
Was it your teacher? Was it Max Brown or?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he and Nancy Opal grew up together. We're all from the same hometown. So it's a small world. We've been talking about it. But yeah, he's just the loveliest man, and I just tribute so much of this experience to him, you know?
Okay, so let's talk about, it's about 110 in the Shade. That's the name of a Broadway musical, but we're literally standing out here like, but it's all like, it's stars, Zhuzh. You all look fabulous.
Glowing.
Back to your Broadway debut. How magical was that night, not just going on as the baker's wife, but also making your Broadway debut in this show? It's got to be surreal.
Very surreal. I think the moment that it really hit me was when I was on stage with Brian Darcy James, who I have been idolizing since really the first time I heard Lippa's Wild Party. That was the show that introduced me to him. And so sharing the stage with him, sharing the stage with Gavin Creel, singing this incredible music, doing scenes with Pippa Sue, it was like I couldn't have dreamed a better Broadway debut for myself, and a lot of friends and family were able to come. So, I mean, it was magical. It was really a very exciting evening.
So I was asking, who did you have in the house that night? I saw a picture outside here. I think it was a lot of your family or peeps on Instagram. Like, you had a lot of people here, right?
I did. My little sister was able to come, my boyfriend, my best friends from college. We FaceTimed one of my best friends from college, FaceTimed my parents at the stage door. So I had a cheering section. Oh, my agent as well. So there was an army. Yeah.
Now, for you opening night, your husband was there, right?
Yeah. What's fun about this show is that there are people that we know and love at every show. Everyone wants to see Into the Woods. So I'm always amazed, whether I'm on or off, people are like, I'm here, oh my gosh. Yeah, but opening night was really special. I had a handful of friends, and my husband was able to make it here. So it was, I came out of the stage door and we all just started sobbing.
Because what do you remember actually of that evening?
Oh gosh, not much. I left my body. I think I didn't come back into my body until like 48 hours later, you know, when
this happened.
The dust had settled. Yeah, I couldn't believe it. And the response from people afterward and the kindness from everyone, I think I was like, who did that was that me? Yeah, okay, I guess it was, yeah.
Because this has to be surreal, like I said. You're playing opposite Brian Darcy James. I mean, you loved him, you know, in all these shows. I mean, you get to play opposite Sarah Bareilles.
Yes.
I mean,
I've been listening to her records. We were saying this the other night. We can't quite reconcile this mega recording artist that we've been following for 15 years. Like, I saw her in Madison Square Garden and cried to her music. You know, like, she's an inspiration. And then the cool girl that is just this brilliant actor that just hangs out with us backstage. It's like, who are these two people? But these are all our idols. These are all the people we grew up with.
Yeah. I just spend most of my time backstage trying to act cool, just trying to be like, calm down, Kay. It's okay. It's okay. They're just people too. A couple awkward moments where I'm like, oh man, gosh, how embarrassing to say that in front of this person that I've idolized for such a long time. But yeah, they're incredible. They're such wonderful people, and they're people. You know, they're just like we are, except very, very talented.
And this show is like,
you're all so talented.
So good.
But this show is like the great equalizer. You know, it's all in service to Sondheim and Lapine, and how brilliant the show is. So there really is no ego. There's so much love and just great camaraderie within the company, and equal level of respect, that it's really in service. This takes precedent, and so that's what's been so lovely about having these new colleagues that we've admired for so long.
Well, let's talk about this. This musical is beloved by millions of people, generation after generation. I mean, you know, a lot of people said I was brought up on the VHS or, on the DVD or whatever. But what did they tap into, Stephen Sondheim and James Lapine, that people of every generation, I mean, people are flying in all around the world to try to get a ticket to this show, to see this production. What is it?
I think it's the meeting of polar ideals. It's like the first act, you spend the entire time in a fairy tale, and the second act is like, you've gotten everything you've wanted. Now, what are the real life consequences to that? Which is such a human thing. We all have dreams, we all have wishes, and oftentimes those things will come true or realize in some way in our lives, and then we learn the reality of those things, that there's often strings attached or consequences you didn't see coming, things that you have no control over, which I think is just like the human condition in a way, in a show on stage. And on top of that, like the lyricism of this show, the poetry of Sondheim's words, I think really hit every single show I hear something that I haven't heard before. So I think you could see it hundreds of times and still learn something every time you're in the audience.
Yeah, it's such a thoroughly nuanced and discussed conversation about life.
Yeah.
And I think coming out of a pandemic, coming out of years being apart, the very nature of the show is what do we do in the face of a great problem? How do we come together? And this production specifically greets that question with such joy and humor and heart. And I really am reminded how people want to feel good, how people want to laugh. Even through tears, we want to laugh and cry and feel. And so here we are together back in the theater after all this time, and that energy is just of gratefulness.
Yeah. I want to talk about the audience, because I know it's still, you can't see a lot of the audience afterwards due to COVID, about signing autographs and all that stuff, but everybody waits outside and they want to just, clap for all of you and everything. I mean, just the audience's reaction to this show is so amazing, and you must feel this on stage.
Oh my gosh. Well, this show is unique in that the curtain rises and the principal company steps down onto the stage in silence, which doesn't usually happen in theater. Right. So to give the audience the opportunity to embrace the show before it's even begun usually means that we're holding for a good 30 to 40 seconds while people get their first round of applause out of the way, and that is really overwhelming. Even to hear it backstage every night, we're like, oh, they're ready. They're ready to watch Into the Woods. Yeah.
That is incredibly special and specific to this production, because it's kind of like us as actors present ourselves and then we decide to, here we go, we're going to tell the story. And I will say, if I did remember something from opening night, it's that in that 30 seconds to a minute, which it really truly is of just thunderous applause, you get to greet the audience and you realize you're on this ride together, and I calmed in that moment, and it was just this agreement between audience and actors to tell this beautiful story.
Okay, so you're backstage at every show now, right? I mean, this is what I love about the Understudies and Standbys in your show. You're at the theater every night, right?
Yeah. Some of us are down there right now. Yeah, so we hang out together. We have a little understudy lounge where we chill. We got to put up some twinkle lights, a couple of lamps. It's basically our living room, and we're there on call in the event that someone is needed, which has not happened yet during a show, but we are there just in case.
And it's a lot of fun. I mean, so many of us have gone on, so I think that initial pressure has released, and so we watch the show, we track things, we hang out. We're really able to just enjoy the company of each other, and it's lovely.
Okay, now you stand by for how many roles?
4.
Which are?
Baker's Wife, Cinderella, Little Red Riding Hood, and Florinda, the evil stepsister.
Okay, so the first time, the night you were going on as the baker's wife, when you saw yourself all done up, wig, costume, makeup, in that mirror, what went through your mind?
I look like Sarah Bareilles. It really was. I put my phone up in front of my face so you couldn't see my features, and I was like, oh yeah, well, they did it. They made me look like her, that's for sure.
That's great. And for you, the first time you saw yourself done as the baker with your apron and your outfit on.
Yeah, I mean, I couldn't believe it. I'm like, here we go. We're doing this thing. This is for real now. Yeah, it was great.
And then since then, could you stand by for how many roles?
4 as well.
Okay, which are?
The baker, both princes, Cinderella's and Rapunzel's, and the narrator, Mysterious Man.
Okay, now you've been on for a few of them, right?
Yeah, three of the 4. Yeah.
Okay.
Every week since the last week of previews, it's been a whirlwind.
So you've done the baker.
Yep.
You've done the wolf, Cinderella's prince, and the other prince.
Yeah, correct.
All right.
Yeah.
How cool is that?
I know.
Night, this has to be like a fever dream. Oh my God, maybe I'll come to Broadway. I would love to be in Into the Woods in any capacity. It's like, oh my gosh, I've already played the baker. Yeah. I played the wolf.
Yeah.
I played the princess. You've been on as the baker's wife. I mean, these are dreams, right?
I remember seeing the casting announcement way back, oh gosh, was it 2021?
Yeah.
The first announcement that came out about Encores, saying that Sarah was going to do it, and that at that time Christian Borle was going to do it, and Heather Headley. And I remember thinking, oh man, Into the Woods is my show. I should be in that show. And here we are. And here we are, a year later. It's so wild to remember having that thought, to be like, oh, I want to do that.
Was this a dream show of yours to do here in New York when you realized the casting call?
Yes, of course. Well, I feel like I remembered seeing that star-studded list. I'm like, oh, that's cool. That's cool for them.
And now look.
That's cool for them. I can't wait to see it, is what I thought. I can't wait to see it. Yeah, when I found out about City Center, I said, are you serious? And it was the 2 of us. And it was Yeah, we were the two OG swings over at City Center, and we just sat in the corner of this room with all of our scripts and scores, and we just were watching brilliance play out and watching the greatest artists of our time kind of play and create and invent what this version is.
Yeah.
And I learned so much in that room, and to see how much of we really thought City Center was lightning in a bottle.
Oh yeah.
And I was curious how that would transfer, and I am amazed at how it's still there. Like, there's still so much lightning in there. And I don't know how what is that about, but there's something magical between the audiences, this cast of actors, and the way Lear has provided this arena for us to just play in. So there's such a leading with love and joy that I'm like, this is just it. I think it just will always read for audiences in this production.
Yeah. Again, I want to celebrate standbys and understudies, because I remember talking to Karen Mason when she stood by for Glenn Close in Sunset Boulevard in California. They're like, we have no time for you. You have to learn this on your own. Glenn Close is never going to miss a performance, ever. She missed the second week. But Karen knew to learn it. She, the piano player said, would you work with me during lunch or whatever? And she watched every day. So I was wondering, when you were at City Center, like, you're standing, you're learning 4 different lead roles, each of you. Like, did you follow them really closely? Like, I may be going on, or if it happens?
Well, at City Center, we were covering more than 4. We were the only standbys, so we were kind of trying to keep eyes on everyone, which was a lot for a little brain like the one in here and in there. But I would say we had each other, first and foremost, which was good. So in the moments when we wanted to run things, there were a couple of 5 to 10 minute periods where we would go up and someone would play a little something on the piano for us so we could get it into our voice. But really just multiple scores, multiple scripts, many different colored pencils, lots of highlighters, trying your own sort of organizational filing system, and then as much homework as you feel you need to do outside of that rehearsal room on your own.
Right. Is it same for you, keeping it all up there?
Yeah, it's a lot of organization. But in City Center, I was thrown on again for that opening as well. So I was trying to get into that role as fast as I could for that opening night, and for the dress the night before, similarly to when you were here. And so that whole first week was doing that role. And so then there was another week after that where I was like, okay, I better frantically memorize things. But it was kind of like a mirror image of what happened here in the transfer.
That's crazy. Yeah. Les Mis is another musical that's played a big part in both of your lives.
Yes.
I mean, so you played Fantine?
I did, yeah, on the tour for about 2.5 years, right before the pandemic hit. So that's what I was doing up until March 2020.
How magical was that, doing Les Mis? I mean, from Les Mis to Into the Woods.
Yeah, I think with that particular show, it was the density and the reputation of the song that I was singing. It's just oh my gosh, the number of women who are the kinds of women, the caliber of women who have played this role before me and sung this song. That was a lot to carry out onto the stage every night, but also such an honor, and I loved it. I loved playing Fantine.
Now, for you, not only was it creative, it was also personal for you, because you met your husband at the callbacks?
Yes.
Were you going for the same role?
No, well, there was yet again, it was a stack of 6 or 7 roles we were going in for, and they're trying to figure out where to place everybody. And we met in the callbacks, and I was, going through all of these sides, and he's introduced himself, and we had sung together on a concept recording of a show that never went anywhere. But he's like, we've sung together before. I'm like, what are you talking about? Yeah. And he played this song on his phone, and it's of us singing. We had never met. We sung in a studio, but we never met. I'm like, get out of here. And then we became friends, and we went on the road. I was on the road for 2.5 years too, in the 25th, the Lawrence Connor, the new version. It's so funny that we have these two things in common. But 2.5, close to 3 years on the road, and that was the first years of our relationship, and
was it love at first sight?
True, I actually feel truly yes, it was.
But you heard yourself singing together, right?
Well, he looked at me and he's like, "Are you okay?" I think I was on the ground, having, yet again having a panic attack, going through music, and I looked up at him and he's like, "Are you all right?" And I remember being kind of arrested by him. So I feel like maybe love at first sight is maybe you just feel kind of sick, sick and nervous.
Or a calming effect he was to you, right?
I was like, who are you? Yeah. But it was pretty immediate. I was like, who is this guy? And it was ever since.
I love that. All right, we're sweating out here, but
We
we're
are.
almost there. I think you have to take a shower before you go into
Right,
like it's crazy. Like I said, it's 110 out here, whatever. But as we're standing here outside the St. James Theater under your glorious marquee, I mean, what's going through your minds?
I can't believe it still. Still, it's like almost too much for me to process. But at the same time, it's real. It's real, and we're doing it, and I think we're doing a good job, and so I'm proud of it at the same time that I'm very overwhelmed.
Yeah.
Generally.
Yeah, I'm incredibly proud of all of us and how hard we worked. And yeah, even as you're saying this, I'm like, and here we are talking to you. It's like, what is happening? But the love and the response and the way people feel about it, I feel very proud to be a part of this company and to have the friends that I've made and to be doing this work, which is good work. I feel like it's making people feel again and feel together again. And that is so important. And so I'm happy that we're doing that, you know?
Well, like I said, the show has just been extended again, and I think this is
Yeah.
only one of the many extensions through October 16th. I mean, that's got to be incredible to hear that news, too.
Yeah, oh my gosh. Well, first of all, it's just nice to have a job, nice to have work, but also to be doing a show like this that really, truly is in such high demand and will continue to be in high demand and continue to speak to and touch audiences. I think we're very honored. I am.
Yeah, come down and check us out if you haven't already.
And just finally, being back on Broadway, look, the streets, there's audiences everywhere. You've got a line out the door of people buying tickets for Into the Woods. I mean, for 2 years, there was no one on these streets. It's all back. All the marquees are lit. The crowds are back. What that means to you?
I think being, like we've said it a couple of times before in the last 15 minutes or so, about just being able to connect with people in this way, I think in a way that we probably both feel like we were put on this earth to connect to people this way. So it just feels kind of like coming home, I guess. Yeah.
The whole past year, I was with Phantom right across the street, swinging for them starting last September, almost a year ago now. And then, and even through the new year into January, Omicron and all that, there was an element of it being a little stressful and scary, and where there was a lot of concern. And so much has changed since then. And I remember being like right up in that window watching all these, the signage come up over here and being like, oh my God, I can't believe I'm like hopping across the street. And now, the city is back, full-fledged. There's so much passion on the streets. Theater is back. It's fun to see all these new marquees like Neil Diamond come up and down the street. So it's fully revived.
Well, thank you for joining me here for Broadway World tonight, sweating in the street outside your theater. But it's a real pleasure to be with both of you. Everybody, we'll see you at the theater.